Your woman is disappointed. She's disappointed in you, disappointed in your behavior, disappointed in you forgetting to do something. She's disappointed in you saying no to her. What do you do in the moment when faced with this potential disappointment? Do you take on the challenge of her occasionally being let down, or do you cave and give her exactly what she wants? Welcome back to The Naked Connection. This is the show that supports driven men to reach sexual mastery and build deep connections. What's up, you guys? It's your soon-to-be licensed sex therapist, Kirsten here. And in this episode, we will be breaking down what to do when faced with a yes or a no with your woman. Within all of this avoiding disappointment here, there can be a lot of nice guy stuff. If you are continually avoiding the moment of disappointing her and instead giving her what she wants, potentially at the detriment to you and what you want. So ask yourself, are you trying to avoid moments of disappointment with her? Maybe you say yes to watching Love is Blind or hour after hour of some Real Housewives show on Bravo. You say yes to joining her with her friends at dinner, only to find out that all of her friends are girls and you're the only guy there and you basically are there to take pictures of them all night. You're eating tapas for $25 for every bite you take. You are saying yes to playing pickleball with her when what you really want to be doing is playing basketball with your guys. You don't say no. You don't set boundaries around what you really truthfully know will eventually build resentment towards her. You're telling yourself that you have to get it right all of the time in order to be with her, and that is just complete BS. It is. And so in this moment, if you are feeling connected to what I'm sharing, if you're actually feeling maybe even a little bit called out, that's good. Because this matters so much. And the truth is that I have been with these guys. I have dated men who will say yes to anything that I choose. And personally, I really don't like it. It doesn't feel good for me. You might be thinking, this is pretty harsh. Isn't wanting your woman to be happy a good thing? You know, happy wife, happy life, however that saying is. And yes, you want your woman to be happy and taken care of, to feel provided for, to feel safe and protected. Yes, you do. But catering to her every need and ideal isn't the way to get there. Taking it upon yourself to believe that you are the sole responsibility for her overall happiness and needs is actually, shockingly, the opposite of what makes women actually want to be with a man. You have a great goal and vision in mind, but the execution isn't leading down the path of success. So, here's the reality. Most of us women, we really want two things. Number one, to be with a man who is going to have boundaries, that is not afraid to say no to you. You know, I am studying to be a licensed therapist, and in therapy, we actually talk about the dynamic between children and parents and how a child is really looking to test the boundaries to figure out what is a yes and what is a no. And that they actually want to be able to lean up against the walls, lean up against the boundaries of their parents. And that actually can be really grounding and really stabilizing. And I think the same is true here. No, you are not their parent. However, you are an individual that's showing where your walls are, that's showing what boundaries you have. The vision that comes to me is imagining you're blindfolded and you're placed in a room and you're trying to figure out, well, how large is this room that I'm in? Where are the walls? Where can I take a break and just sit up against the wall? But the room that you're in, no matter which direction you go or how far you're walking, you're not finding any walls. And suddenly, the further and further you're going, the more you might start thinking, where am I actually? Am I even in a room? And the farther and farther you go in this room with this blindfold on, the more fearful you might become. And I think that that is exactly what can happen when a woman is trying to figure out what boundaries a man has. So if you have no boundaries, if you have no walls to your room, she is eventually going to not only walk all over you, but she is going to eventually walk away from you up to someone else's door. Secondly, women want to be with a man that has a strong frame. We want to know that we can feel upset and angry, hurt, not okay, and then we can bring these emotions to you and know that you're not going to either lose it or shut down and check out. On a previous episode with the amazing Jamie Ray, we actually talked about this, and he spoke about how women are like water. We're this flowing, crashing around element that has a lot of movement. Some days it's really calm, and some days it's a tsunami, okay? Some days it's a hurricane. And we want a man that's a cement pillar built into the ground, that no matter how we flow and how we crash around, that you are going to be stable and strong, that you're going to stand your ground. As you're listening to this, you might be thinking a couple of things. So as a caveat, I want to share that both of these pieces, it's not to say that a man can't express emotions or have their own needs and moments with their partner. And also, it isn't to say that you need to become this punching bag with this woman to just take hit after hit after hit that she's sending your way. You know, David Deida, in his book, Way of the Superior Man, he actually talks about this, how women were testing you. And look, I know that that sucks. I get it. No one wants to feel like they're being tested all of the time. No one wants to be tested every time they're turning around the corner. And I understand that. And I will say, I think a lot of the times in women's defense, it's a subconscious thing that we're doing. And I think it's important to reflect on, why is this happening? Well, I think that the testing, that a woman testing to see if she'll get a yes or a no from you, testing to see where are your boundaries, where are your walls, are you a strong cement pillar, or are you this soft wood old log in the water? You know, what's in it for her is really to determine a couple of things. 1, is she safe with you? 2, what kind of man are you? And 3, can she depend on you? So what does all of this mean? It's all about control. It comes back to who is in control, who has the power in this dynamic. And if a woman knows that you won't, and that you don't hold your ground on your values, on your morals, on what is important to you, then she has control. She has 100% control over you and over the relationship. And this changes a relationship. Simply put, she no longer has to have respect for you. Someone who is time and time again willing to forgo what is important to them to make someone else happy likely doesn't respect themselves. And it's kind of hard for people to respect someone when they don't even respect themselves. And now I will say this, some women are into this. Some women want to play that masculine dynamic role in a relationship. They want the respect. They want to be respected, and they want to cherish you. There's this very old school book called Getting to I Do, and the author speaks about how the feminine individual in the relationship really craves being cherished, and the masculine individual in the relationship really wants to be respected. And this feminine masculine thing, it doesn't necessarily have to be based on whether you're a man or a woman or how you identify, but it's really more about which type of role you're choosing to play. And the thing here is that you can't have both. You really have to pick one. Do you want to be respected, or do you want to be cherished? And look, that's totally fine. If you're listening to this thinking, I want to be cherished, I want to look up to my woman and do what she says and feel so much respect for her when we are together. Great. Do that. I will say that that is more the exception to the general rule in relationship dynamics. Most women crave a man with a sense of power, strength, and integrity, and most women have this innate desire to be so deeply cherished. Even if the result of this type of strong, powerful man with integrity is some disappointment, she likely wants that. She's tried her tricks and it didn't work. You know, maybe she tried to get you to go to the Mean Girls musical or to go big hat shopping with her before the summer. And guess what? You're okay with the disappointment that she might experience. You're that pillar that's strong and that turns towards her and says, I'm actually going to decline. You go have fun. I love you. And maybe she expresses her disappointment. And you could say, thank you so much for sharing how you feel. I can see how that would be disappointing. And I'm still not going to go buy hats with you. Truly, try this out. It might be incredibly uncomfortable for you. Great. Because chances are, if you try this out, she is actually going to really appreciate this. Maybe at first in the moment, she might not, but deep down, she is going to respect your decision. She is going to look at you like, wow, he isn't going to cave into my every desire. That's actually kind of really hot. He's standing in who he is. So my invitation for you is to consider, what is something in your dynamic right now that you actually aren't interested in continuing? If you're in a relationship, maybe there's some Sunday activity that you would really rather not do. Or if you're single, maybe it's agreeing to go on these date activities that you actually aren't excited by. Whatever that is, the next time the invitation from her comes your way, say no. And maybe she'll say, but don't you want me to be happy? Or maybe she'll say, but you did it last week with me. Why not now? What's going on? And you can respond and say something like, hey, I noticed that this isn't actually something that I'm interested in. I want you to go have the best time. I want you to fully enjoy this. And how about this? We'll do XYZ together tomorrow. I love you. And stand firm in your decision. I want to share a few examples from my own life around this that I think might be a little helpful. I once dated a guy in the past who at first really fell into this bucket of doing whatever I wanted. He really followed me around like a little puppy, which might sound really cute, but I actually hated it. And in the course of our dynamic, he started to say no. He started to build his boundaries. He started to show me where his walls were. One time he said no to going on this ski trip, which I didn't even want to go on. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really hot. While I was so disappointed that he didn't come, it was okay because I knew that he was standing in his truth. And it was actually really, really inspiring for me to witness someone that was able to say no. It comes back to this piece of, you know what you want, you know what you don't want, and you are actually living that out. And that totally changed how I saw him. Another example is some dynamic that I have with my dad. My mom and I like to go shopping as mother and daughters do, and sometimes we'll try to get him to come shopping with us. 80% of the time, he is like, get out of here. No, I'm not doing that. You guys go do your thing. I'm going to watch the basketball game. I'm going to have a beer on the porch. Enjoy. And it's great because he's living the truth of who he is. And then this is the really important part. The 20% of the time that he does come along, that he does say yes, it's great because he's into it. He's there, he's present, he's picking things out with us. We have a lot of fun with it. The reason I share this is because of two important things. This conversation today isn't to say no to everything that she wants all of the time. Yes, obviously there are moments and there are necessary compromises in any kind of relationship dynamic. We sometimes do things that we don't want to, and that's okay. And I think you have to use a little discernment, right? So maybe your girl, she just lost her favorite uncle and she's really sad and she wants to watch her favorite shitty reality TV show and for you to just hold her. Saying yes to that is going to be really different than it's her regular Thursday night and she wants to veg out vibe invitation. So discerning between the two and recognizing that this isn't saying no to somebody all the time. And the second piece is looking at this example with my dad is that when he says yes, he means it. I know that he genuinely wants to do it because he can and because he does say no when he doesn't want to. So I can actually trust his yes. I believe that he means his yes. And the thing is, women, We can read when someone isn't being truthful, whether it's conscious or not. And I actually believe that men as well, you can too. You can discern when a woman is saying she's into something, but she really isn't. I believe that deep down you can discern that. You can tell. And if you are saying yes to everything all the time with her, it makes the yeses meaningless in the long run. So if you're willing to say no, she can better trust your yeses later on. All right. I hope that this has been insightful in some way. Get out there, be willing to say no, be that cement pillar, have those walls and boundaries, and see what happens in your relationship. See what shifts for you. See what shows up. And do not forget to submit your question, your story, your topic that you would like to have discussed on the podcast at thenakedconnection.com/question. And also, you guys, please, if you haven't yet, if anything from this show so far, or maybe even this episode has been supportive for you, it would mean so much if you would leave a review, drop a comment to start the conversation with all of the other epic guys that are here. This is Kirsten Trammell, and until next time, let's get some. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Naked Connection. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Trust me on this, your sex life and that special someone in your life will thank you for it. And if you really love the show, please take a moment and leave a 5-star review or a written review and let me know what you think. It would mean so much to me and this show. Until next time, happy connecting.